Daniel Jones is one of the top 3 worst quarterbacks in the NFL, and I don't think it's really even close. If we're really thinking about it, if we're really going into it, I don't know how you paid him. I wish I would have made a video about when they did. I thought it was ridiculous. I think it was sometime in the summer. I think I was busy. I don't think I was able to cover it, but it was ridiculous. And then to hold out on, I know Saquon, he's been injured. He's been proven everything that, they thought he'd be. Okay, I get it. But if you're going to pay anybody and take the gamble, why take the gamble on Daniel Jones and pay him? It made no sense. Um, and I don't even want to hear about, oh, the playoff season, the playoff year was big, and they won. They made it to the divisional round last year. That has to do with that had to do with a great head coach that came in on the rise. That had to do with an elevated defense that was playing better. That had to do with Saquon Barkley having a huge comeback year. That did not have anything to do with Daniel Jones. So bottom 3 quarterback. And he's injured. I know it's kind of like beating a dead horse when it's down, but it was a disaster. They need to draft a quarterback this year. What it is, the ownership group up there, they think that they have their next Eli Manning. I get it. Sometimes when you're a group like that, sometimes you have loyalty to something. It makes sense. But I thought from the day that he was drafted, it was the wrong decision. From the day he was drafted, I thought there's no way that this is going to work. There's no way that this is going to be like something that's going to work going forward. And other than that one season where there was somewhat stuff going on, there really hasn't been. I mean, there's been flashes of him like running the ball that have been good. Never passing have I seen anything that's been like really good or up there or elite. He's just not a franchise starting quarterback. He'd be a heck of a backup. Heck of a backup for some teams. But what the Giants see in this guy is ridiculous. You got to bring somebody else in. Eli Manning, yeah, he won big games. He got lucky with him. It's an embarrassment to compare Daniel Jones to Eli Manning. That's what they see. That's what they see in the ownership. That's what they see in the front office. I get it, but you got to move on at this point. Now he's dealing with an injury, so he's going to be even worse. I mean, what you had last year, that's his ceiling. And like I said, even worse. It's going to be even worse at that point. And I don't know what you're thinking if you're the New York Giants. Draft a guy. This quarterback class is stacked. It's absolutely stacked. You just got to go out there. You got to get a guy. Daniel Jones, if you look at his numbers across the board, they're terrible. If you look at his play, it's awful. Like I said, last year, result had a lot to do with Saquon Barkley. He's a different quarterback. Their offense is completely different when Saquon Barkley is playing his best. Now, Barkley, he might be past his prime, or it's the fact that O-line is deteriorating and just the team in general as it is kind of deteriorating. That could be a factor as well. But I thought that, like the Darren Waller thing, you bring him in and like there's nothing. He has no impact and he's not putting up stats at all. Like he was considered a really good tight end when he was with the Raiders, and now it's like he's not getting any stats at all. So with the Daniel Jones thing, if you're holding on to Daniel Jones and you think that he's the answer and he can get you there, I promise you, you're wrong. There's no way. He won a playoff game. Be happy. Be happy he won a playoff game. I never saw that happening, but there's no chance of a conference championship game or Super Bowl with a guy like Daniel Jones. You just can't get there. I don't even think Brian Dable wanted him as the guy. I think that the ownership is pressuring him to keep him as the guy. But you got to draft a guy next year. It has to be apparent. I just don't think he was ever the right quarterback to be drafted. I think he's a smart guy. I think, some of the things he does are really good. He could be a backup in the NFL, but he's not a franchise guy. He is tearing that team to the ground. Obviously, he's out for the rest of the year. And, this is where like that offense looked better with Tyrod Taylor through several weeks. It looked better. It looked more explosive with Tyrod Taylor. That's ridiculous. And Tyrod Taylor's not a bum, but at the same time, he's not a franchise guy, and the offense looked better with him. So, I mean, that just kind of goes to show where you're at right now. You got to move on from Daniel Jones, draft a guy. The problem is now that obviously if you're the Giants, you've paid him, which is I can't get over. How did that guy get paid? How have we given that guy a contract? But I mean, you got to draft a quarterback, and you just got to maybe find a way to trade him. I don't know who would take him in the NFL. I don't think he has any market, but you got to move on. You got to agree that you made a mistake, and you got to go from there.